Hi, welcome to Profile. Without a doubt, Jamaica has given the world some great musicians, some singers, songwriters, and tonight, superstar is the word that describes my special guest on Profile. He's BB Seaton, been in business for over 39 years. Does it feel like 39 years?
No, it doesn't really feel like 39 years because I actually enjoy what I'm doing. You know, I would do the same thing over again for another 39 years if allowed.
You probably will be, actually.
I really love what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. One can't help to notice how you look so fit and fresh. What is your secret?
I haven't got a secret, but I think if there was a secret, it would be, I think you reflect what's inside of you on your screen, which is your face. And if you're a nice person inside or a genuine person, I think it comes out. You know? So I think God has been good to me.
Indeed.
Yes.
Now, one thing for sure, you certainly have brought a lot of fun and good things into people's life. Talking about your listeners, your people who listen to your recordings,
yes.
and also your fellow musicians. Because BB Seaton, you're responsible for some of the big hits of some of the artists from Jamaica. Ken Booth, the name, about one.
Yes, Ken Booth was a very close friend of mine and still is. And we actually worked together from Studio One days.
Yeah.
When I was with the group, the Gay Lads, one at a time we were making hits. And Ken Booth, you know, he tried everything and could make a hit. And he used to come to me and say, BB, God, what's going on? You know, and I'm saying to him, have patience, man, you know, be very patient and it will work. And as a young guy myself, you know, saying this to another young guy, you know, even though I'm thinking of what I was saying, you know, it surprises me. But we work together and I've written songs like Freedom Street, Say You, Girl I Left Behind, Just Another Girl, to name a few.
To name a few, he
yes,
says.
you know.
Now, some of those hits, did you realize the impact some of those songs would have on the whole world outside of Jamaica?
No, we didn't even actually know that the business would still be around in this time.
Right.
Because we were the pioneers.
Indeed.
And like pioneers were the people who were supposed to feel the pain.
Yes.
You know, you have to make the sacrifice so that people can, you know, benefit or live from the music.
Of course.
You know?
Now, before the Gay Lads actually became the Gay Lads, you teamed up with Delano Stewart, another big giant in the business.
Well, Delano is, we go way back and we come way forward. Now, Delano, oh God, how can I say it? He was with a group called the Rhythm Aces, and they used to rehearse like around a block from me. And then I used to go and listen to them. I used to go to Cornell College. And then that was in Montego Bay.
Yes.
So I used to come up on holidays. And, you know, during this period, I'd go and listen to them rehearsing. Yeah. And then I tried my hand at writing. And I took one of my songs to Boris Gardner, you know, for him to check it out.
Yeah.
When he did, he said, God, it's good. So that encouraged me.
Okay.
And then I used to go around his house in the evenings for him to teach me harmony. And God, he used to give me some lick in my head. Believe you me, you know, but every day I thank him for that, you know, because if it wasn't for Boris Gardner, you know, our group wouldn't be the great harmonizing group as people, you know, make it out to be.
Indeed, and it certainly is, because, I mean, when you talk about Jamaican history, the music history, I mean, people always have to mention BB Seaton, the Gay Lads, Delano Stewart.
Yeah.
Now, you said you're from Montego Bay.
No, I'm from Kingston.
Okay, but for the college you were in?
I'd like to just tell you something about that.
Come on, please.
I was very unruly as a kid. And my dad tried everything. I went to about 6 different schools, you know, vast preparatory, this and all of that. But I was just mischievous. That's what I call it. And they thought that sending me to Montego Bay, to Cornwall, would get me out of that environment.
Of course, yes, yes. Okay.
But I went to school there, and all I did, I was very good academically because I came 3rd in my class without even studying. But most of the time, I was actually singing, you know, in the back with guys and, you know, giving jokes. So I thought that that was where it all stemmed from, you know, and I came up after one holiday and had a very good friend who used to attend KC by the name of Christopher Redwood. And
this is Kingston College, not Knox College.
No,
because I went to Knox
College.
College.
Okay. We used to beat up you guys in football, man.
We won't talk about that now.
Yeah, but you know, we were so close, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't go back to school. I left school because of being with that friend, and music was on my mind all this time.
Okay.
You know.
Now, talking about being a songwriter, lyrics has to be written in a prose form, doesn't it, or does it?
Well, what helped me to be with my songwriting was I was very good at poems at school.
Right, exactly.
And composition.
Okay.
And the three basic things that they said was like the beginning, middle, and the end. And I always try to get my song with that mode, you know.
Right.
I always try to find something that people can sing along with, and we call that the punchline. You know, like My Jamaican Girl,
yes.
where you're waiting for that part to say, My Jamaica, you know?
Yes.
That's sort of thing. Or any other hit song you may hear, you know?
My Jamaican Girl. I've traveled all over the world, made love to many, many girls. Of all the girls that I like best, you are the one girl I can't forget, 'cause you're my Jamaican. Let me hear you sing the song. My Jamaican. Let me hear you sing the song. My Jamaican. Lord, mercy now. My Jamaican. African girls are nice, nice girls. French girls too. But when it comes to loving, I give the credit to you. You know how to do your thing. Make a man feel nice. Give him all that pseudo loving, and sometimes you're cool and nice. But you're my Jamaican girl. You're my Jamaican girl. You're my Jamaican girl. You're my Jamaican style. Wiper style, wiper style, wiper. Let's go and have some fun on the beach where there is a party. Everyone will be there on the beach where there is a party. Yo, let me hear you sing.
We were listening to the Platters, the Drifters, mostly American artists, rhythm and blues, and boogie, which was where the ska music come from, because
Okay.
Cox used to go on farm working
Yes.
in America before he actually started the business. And then he came back with these records, and they used to play them, you know, and on his sound. And gradually, the musicians got together, and you know,
Right.
some of the musicians that used to work on the North Coast, because that's the only place where they could earn a living.
Of course, yes.
Because there wasn't a record industry, you know, it was just in the making.
So was that the tourist circuit? That was
Yes,
was
yes.
It then?
We-
So was it big then, the tourist circuit?
Well, big enough to sustain the amount of musicians that were in the business.
Okay.
Because I spent a few years doing that as well too, working in Ocho
What time was this? Was that before the Gaylords or
This was
or during?
just after we did, before you hear Lady with the Red Dress.
Okay.
We were doing a lot of songs before, yeah? Like Brown Skin Girl and all these kind of thing with the Scatterlights.
BB Seaton was singing Brown Skin Girl.
Yeah,
Yes.
with the gay lads. Right?
This is strange.
And but they were on the hits on the sound
Of course,
system.
yeah.
Because in those days, our music wasn't played on the radio station. You know, we were exposed to American music. You know,
Yes.
that stigma.
Yes, yes.
And I got frustrated because, you know, tried so many songs and it wasn't going anywhere. And I took a break and went to Ocho has to work. I worked there for about 3 years doing cabaret.
So what did your parents feel about this son of theirs trying to make it his way in the music business?
The amount of beating I've gotten for that. They couldn't, I mean, it was known as rag songs. You couldn't sing those type of songs in Jamaica. You know, it was non-existent. There wasn't anything there that you could say, well, okay, when I leave school, I'm going to go back into music. There wasn't an industry, you know, we were the pioneers.
Yeah.
So we went through hell, both at home and even abroad. You know?
So did you realize at the time that money could be made from this? I mean, apart from the little living that you were making on the circuit, did you realize then?
Well, before I went on the circuit, we used to make £7.10.
Well, that's a lot of money.
To every song that we did, right?
Okay.
That had to split 3 ways.
Goodness me.
Right? But we could have, we bought shoes, band and the t-shirt, everything out of it. You understand what I'm saying? But
yes.
so as kids, because we were kids then, and we didn't have use for money in terms of, you know, having a plan or whatever.
Okay.
Because we were kids and we lived with our family, so we didn't, you know, our parents, so we didn't need that.
Yes. So you moved on to Coxsone. How did you actually get linked up with Coxsone?
Richard Ace from Rhythm Ace, the
Yes.
group I spoke about earlier on. He was the one who took myself and Delano there. When we went there, I actually sang, the first song I recorded was a song called Only You, Patricia Can Make My Dream Come True. And Ken Booth, ironically, was on the same session. Now, this is another something that you would want to know. When we did the song, Ken's song was called Prevention. When he did it, the studio tore down, all the musicians and everything. Now me, poor little me, I did my song and there wasn't any, if a rat squeak, you'd hear it. And then about 2 weeks after, King Stitt, who was the DJ for Coxsone Sound, said to me, BB, we're playing this song at least 10 times per night, you know, at Carnival and these places. And I said, you're joking. I couldn't believe it. So I said, come down one night, because we normally follow this set, you know, just to hear our songs being played. And I went there and I said that I was, you know, it really moved my heart so much, you know, because I didn't believe, you know, I thought Ken Booth was, you know, singing, and that opened my eyes, you know, to realize that it's not the singer, it's a song. And this is where I started to channel my energy into writing.
Yes. What is it about BB you think that makes him stay as long as he has stayed in the business?
Well, his songwriting ability, you know. And BB can always come up with a new song. And, you know, his writing ability, really, that's it. That's the thing. I mean, we know over the years he's written maybe 60 or 70 hit songs. You know, he really is a wonderful songwriter.
You were actually into the set now with Coxsone and involved with the studio, and you started to write your songs, and were they easy to get past Coxsone, your songs? Because I hear he was a stickler for good songs and make sure you can hold your harmonies, and actually if it's not right, he'll say come back next week. Did you get any of that?
No, not really. He surprised me too, because Coxsone is not a guy who knows music.
Right.
And it surprised me, but he's got very good hearing. But when I left and went to the North Coast, and I got fed up of that, because I wanted to write and be out front with the thing, and I came back, and we teamed up with Delano Stewart and brought Morris Roberts in.
Of course, yes.
And then I went to a place called Franklin Town in Kingston, and that night I was waiting on my friend, so I went over this graveyard, and I sat on this grave, and the song came to me, Lady with the Red Dress.
Strange.
I'm telling you.
Strange place to get inspiration. Well, I suppose it's probably a good place to get inspiration.
But I'm scared of graves and all these things.
And
I sat there and it came to me. And I wrote the song. And this is what we went back to Coxsone with. And when we went back there, you had Bob Marley listening to us as well. Because like we were there before him. But Coxsone's like that. Once you're in his team, you're either going to play an instrument, press some record, or you're going to do something, you know. And we came back on the pass with Lady with the Red Dress. Because,
I mean, studio was a great learning place, wasn't it? So, I mean, often called the university
of music.
Yes, yes, indeed. Did you feel it there at that time?
we were naive to a lot of things, you know, because we were creating history.
Okay.
Not even Cox himself knew what was going to happen.
Right, right.
You know, and I can laugh at it now, but there were days when sometimes we were hungry. Most of these songs that you hear on the records in those days, we were hungry singing those songs. And this is one of the reasons when I'm going to the studio now to voice a song, I always like to be hungry as well.
Brings it up.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
you're determined to get
Yes,
something
of
done,
course.
aren't you? But when your belly is full, you want to sleep.
Lady with the red dress on, lady with the red dress on, believe me, you really look fine, you really look fine. Oh, lady with the red dress on, oh, yeah. You never leave him, you love him too much. You never leave him, you love him too much. If you would
Apparently you were drafted in as a talent scout for Coxsone. When and how did that come about?
Well, we were always a musical group, yeah?
Yeah.
So when we got paid royalties, because we were one of the first groups in the history of Jamaica that got royalties.
Well, that's
And we
interesting.
introduced that to
Yes.
we are the ones who made it possible for other artists to be getting royalties.
Yeah.
And we use that money and we'd buy instruments from Cox himself. So the money is going back where it's
Back
come
to
from,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And we rehearsed, practiced. Actually, it was Bob Marley who was with a guitar book with 7,000 chords. And he used to be playing his guitar. He was the one who inspired me to pick up a guitar and a chord book. And I did that, learned the guitar, taught my friends to play the bass. But I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And we had this band. And we ended up back in the Whalers at a place called Perfect Place one night.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
the history. That time Family Man and those guys used to live on our corner and come and listen to us.
Yeah. So they were even younger than you. You
Yeah.
guys,
And when we finished the show, Bob said, God, boy, you know, first I've ever felt this good with a band. And I said to him, it's because we're artists as well, and we know what you would want, you know. So this is why the vibe was so strong.
Right.
And I think that was what influenced him to get a band together, because he took Family Man, who was taught bass by my bass player, Morris. He used to come and borrow his bass and everything.
Interesting.
This is the history. Even Sly, not Sly, Robbie used to be on that same corner in Montego Street. In
Yes.
thing. All the artists used to come there when we had our band. Slim Smith, Melodians, you name them. They used to come there and rehearse with us. And, you know, it's a free vibes. Anyway, I think Coxsone spot the musical side of me, right? Because we were very close. And then he would say, go and check out some of the artists.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity of giving people like the Heptones, Melodians, those are guys. You know, I actually turned down Pat Kelly in one of the auditions.
Interesting. Can you remember what he sung? Sorry, Pat.
No, I can't remember what he sung, but at the time, Prince Buster was hitting the airway with it, and you know that Prince Buster is not such a great voice person.
Right.
So Coxsone said to me, when you out there in audition the artist, I don't want to get any sweet voice.
Okay.
What I need is rough voice people. So I was just doing my job.
Okay.
I love Pat Kelly's
And Pat
voice.
was a very, very falsetto, high,
Yes.
sweet. Yes.
Not just him alone, because even Lloyd Parks, I passed them, Termites,
Yes.
I gave him
yes.
the go-ahead too.
Interesting.
And a couple of the guys who were singing with the sweet voice, I had to turn them down because I had orders to do that.
So actually, when the Jamaican history book is written, you should be the one that actually found these guys, in a sense. Because if you had said no, then we wouldn't have any Melodians,
Well,
we wouldn't have,
we
probably
would-
wouldn't have any Heptones.
You never know, you know, but I'm glad that I'm really a part of it. I really feel humble about this.
Right.
You know, and another great guy too who I brought to Studio One was Jackie Mitu.
The great Jackie
The
Me
great
Too.
Jackie Me Too. We used to
Goodness
play with
me.
a band called The Rivals that I used to sing with. Me and a guy called Honey Boy Martin.
Yes, yes.
And that day on the session, Cecil Lloyd didn't turn up. He was a great keyboard player. God bless his soul, he's dead now. And I took him down there, and there was no turning back.
Goodness me.
But Jackie Me Too.
Well, we thank you for that, certainly.
Well, I thank God for the vibes, you know.
Right. And of course, during that time, your songwriting was maturing, wasn't it? I mean, you was getting more mature in your songwriting. Your melodies were there.
I grew up listening to BB Seaton in songs and believing them, you know. It was a great pleasure when I came to England and I started doing music and find myself amongst ranks like him, meeting with him and becoming a friend of his, you know. It's great. One of my favorite songs will always be Born Free, because whenever I feel tied up and, I don't feel down, but when I feel the world is like crumbling, I tend to go into Born Free, sing it, play, enjoy it, and lift myself again, you know. So BB, they're the kind of people I always want to meet and work with.
I remember one instant, this guy, there was a van in the back of Studio One that every artist used to wear. Sometimes you had the Wailers, Jackie Opel, Ken Booth, Delroy Wilson, you name them, Clarendonians.
Yeah.
And all of us used to be in this van under this mango tree. That's where we got our lunch sometimes. We used to be singing, and we'd be singing everybody's song. But the beautiful thing about it is that regardless of you singing your song, you'd never find an artist going and do a song close to yours. We had that respect for each other's work, and proud to do your own thing that is, original.
Yeah. It seemed like there was a great camaraderie about the whole Studio One thing. What was it that made this happen? Because surely, I mean, with so many people wanting that hit, or looking for the next hit, surely there must be some kind of a bit of friction going on there. But
no, there wasn't any friction as such. You may have the one and two thing that hasn't got anything to do with music. Because I think Coxon, one has to respect this guy, even though he may hear a lot of stories, and we aren't perfect, yes? Okay. But what he used to do, and I apply that principle sometimes in my thing, because you learn from, the earlier days. He used to give all of these artists a day for themselves. And sometimes he wouldn't even be there. Most of the songs that recorded, Coxon didn't know about it until he came in the evening, and then he would listen to the day's work and then choose from it. So he would put Ken Booth in this day, Gaylords in, Wailers and so forth. And then if you have the opportunity to record so many songs, you should be able to come up with a hit. You know what I'm saying? Yes, and then he allowed you to do what you felt. So it was better for everybody. So when he came in, he was, but the competition now, around the whole thing, it was a friendly competition.
So there was still competitiveness.
Yeah, but it was friendly. It wasn't any thing, like even when we were on stage, like after we made those hits, and I remember one year when Willis made Put It On, and we made Lady with the Red Dress, and they had Simmer Down, and we had You Should Never Do That. Now, there was a clash at Ward Theatre, because they always keep this short Ward Theatre every Christmas. 3-4 shows on many different theatres. And that day, we were worried, because we said, God, Put It On. It was really wicked, and the message was Put It On. This is how we, he was saying, I'm going to put it on you then. The other artists, that was the message. So we said, oh, God. When we went into Ward Theatre that morning, we saw every woman, not every woman, about 90%.
Slight exaggeration.
Yes.
We allow you that.
They had red dress on. And when we saw that...
That must have been a good feeling.
When we saw that, we said, well, this is our morning.
Okay, of course.
And so said, so done.
Right. Now, during that time, most artists were singing about, we had the Rude Boy period, which was happening then. But you didn't get involved with that. Well, not too heavily anyhow. What was the reason for your non-involvement, as it were?
I think that would stem from my upbringing.
Okay.
Because I was brought up in a middle class sort of environment. I mean, that wouldn't stop anything if I'd gone the wrong way either. But I must tell you about this rude boy thing when the Wailers came with it. When the Wailers came with this rude boy situation, it was creating havoc amongst the dancers, people carrying knives and all of these things. And this is why I respect Coxsone again. Because you had the Clarendonians singing Rudy Gone to Jail to counteract that.
And of course Alton Ellis was doing the same thing as
Exactly,
well too,
you know, which was negative and positive, you know, in the music. You know, and there's a history behind every record that is made because it's a record. But people seem to think that what is touring on record is something that I'd like to hear about in the year 2014. You see, but some of these stuff that they're doing now, I must tell you, that it's not recording really.
Do you feel sad about that?
I feel hurt, and I can understand because the youth, they have to try and find something different. But what I find with, okay, if you take the American artists, for instance, the youth in America would tend to emulate the Americans from the 60s, that thing coming up. But the Jamaicans, they seem to disrespect the artist that is coming from the foundation. You know, when that was something that should guide them. Because we used to listen to the American artists, you know, and then we came up with our beat. So they should carry it on further, you know, in another.
Would it be fair to say that a vast majority of the founding members of the Jamaican music industry has probably left Jamaica anyhow? A lot of them have left Jamaica, and because they're not really around the youths or the singers of the moment, that's probably why a lot of that history has kind of been lost in a sense. I know that a lot of the rhythms are reused time and time again, especially the Studio One rhythms. But that's another aspect. But before we talk about, isn't that the reason why the youths or the nowadays singers tend to go astray? If that's the way you put it.
Well, what amazes me is that they're using the rhythm, but they won't give us the respect. You know, and they're saying to it, hey, this is the new thing. It's nothing new. It has been there before, and you need to put back something where that's coming from. That's all I'm saying. You know, you have the guys who come out on a big international hit, and they are saying, what were you doing with your time? What we were doing with our time was making it possible for you.
Absolutely. And talking about respect, I mean, you, after the group had disbanded with Delano going solo, and you yourself getting there, you took time out to actually look after your fellow artists. I mean, you got involved with the Jamaican Musician Federation, or the Jamaican Federation. I could never get that right.
I know.
But you know what I'm talking about. A union for musicians, songwriters, singers. And that was one of the first body that was formed actually to look after musicians. And you took that up, you know, which was a brave step in those days, because with producers fighting against artists in a sense, not giving them their dues, and you actually took the plight of the musicians, songwriters on your shoulders. Why?
Well, the union was around for quite a while. Because like Baron and these guys used to be present years ago.
But it was pretty inactive. There wasn't much happening.
It was active, but it was active on the North Coast area. Because there was no reason for it to be active in the studio area, because it wasn't an industry as such as yet. Now, when it became an industry, we saw the need to, the plan was, that was why I went into the union, to actually deal with the recording industry side of it, because I saw that was neglected. Now, the idea was to set it up that when a kid leaves school, he could say, well, I'm going into the music business. I know that it is set up properly, that he would be protected, and he would be trained properly. Because what I find is that most of the guys that are making hits here, when they go abroad to do a show on TV or whatever, then most of them, they're not prepared. You know what I'm saying? And you need that thing to prepare them. But, and also we were trying to, when the musicians were recording the rhythms, and the producers used to use them time and time again, we were trying to implement a program that they would pay even half of the money to the musicians.
Yes, of course. They're originators,
So we got all of the musicians, the top musicians in the country, to because you needed the best. If you could, you know, and it was working, because we struck off a lot of studios, including Dynamics at one time, you know, and then you still had musicians sneaking in late in the night to go work. So we had to police that as well.
Okay.
And we also we called a strike on JBC for not playing enough reggae music in Jamaica. We did all of that, you know. But you see, education is a hell of a thing, because I had several educational programs at the Wyndham, before it was the Wyndham Hotel.
Right.
And how I had to get the artists to come there to look about their selves.
Okay.
I had to say that we're going to serve food. And then we didn't serve the food until after we told them what it was about. I mean, it's sad, but I can understand.
Special guest BB Seaton, tracing the history of Jamaican music. He was there, he knows. Stay tuned, we'll be back after this short break.
And on to Jamaica.
Every culture has their folk music. So if you look at reggae music, which is all about survival, all about the voice of the underdog, a song like Summertime is particularly relevant.
One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing.
In the early 70s, BB Seaton cut his reggae version of Summertime in Kingston, Jamaica.
The melody is so relaxed that you could go to sleep singing it. And putting it on a reggae rhythm, I think that gave it life. You know, and you know, because when I was singing it, I remember the beat, you know, it was so pulsating that I was actually floating on top of the rhythm with that melody.
Daddy, standing by.
Welcome back to Profile. Special guest BB Seaton, singer, songwriter, historian, musically speaking. Now, we're talking about the union, the Musicians Union,
Yes.
the Federation of Jamaican Musicians. Now, you actually left that. What was the reasons for leaving?
I'd been the vice president for about 3 years, and the musicians wanted me to be the president. Sonny Bradshaw was the president at the time, and I told him I wasn't interested in being the president at this time because of the knowledge. I didn't really have the knowledge to handle something like that. You know.
Would you say it was a success, the Federation?
It you need something there to police the thing, but whether it's working to its fullest is another thing.
Okay.
I don't think it's working to its fullest, because a union is only as strong as its members.
Absolutely.
Because unity is strength.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see, and as I said, it goes back to education, you know.
Because I know, and now in Jamaica we have the PRS, a branch of the PRS down there, who's probably carrying on the same thing, in a sense, the same work as what you started. You know, so here we are, which is was pioneering work for you. Good thing you actually started that, in a sense.
Yes,
or encouraged it, I should say.
Yes, and I was hoping that they would carry it on, you know. But I had to leave that to deal with my family, you know, my kids and everything, because it was a non-paid job, you know. So
was it really?
Yes, I was doing it, making a sacrifice because I saw the need, you know, and it's a pity a lot of people didn't see the need.
Well, hence, as I said in my intro about you being the musician's musician, you know, caring about your fellow artists, you know, and so early 70s into the 70s, your career took off again, because the solo project started going quite well.
Yes, I did. The first song I did solo after I left the Killers was "Accept My Apology."
Yes.
And that was a monster hit in Jamaica.
Did pretty well for you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I was pleased, you know, being on your own.
Yes.
And leaving the name with the guys and trying to create a new name.
Yeah.
It's a very hard thing, you know. But because people knew me with the gay lads, so I think they accepted me quite readily.
Of course.
And I did Lean on Me, Thin Line Between Love and Hate,
a monster, which is now being revived once again.
I'm telling you, that song has been revived so many times.
And in fact, you were one of the first ones who actually did a version that particular song.
Yes, because the original version was done by the Persuaders.
Indeed.
And my version was produced by Lloyd Chalmers.
Yes.
It's a thin line between love and hate. It's a thin line between love and hate. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm just getting in. When we come, we come. You understand? Yeah, man. It's a thin line between love and hate. It's a thin line between love and hate. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm just getting in. I knock on the door, a voice sweet and low says, she opened up the door and let me in. Never once did she say, where have you been? She said, are you hungry? Are you hungry, honey? Did you eat yet? Let me hang up your coat. The woman tell me, pass your hat. All the time she's smiling, never raises her voice. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't give it a second thought. Between love and hate. It don't pay to keep treating your woman bad. Between love and hate. Don't she sit back and enjoy it? Yes, it is. She's gonna fool you one day. The sweetest woman in the world could be the meanest woman. You keep hurting her, she keep being quiet. She might be holding something inside that will really, really hurt you one day. Here I am, laid in the hospital, bandaged from feet to head, in a state of shock. Ooh, just that much from being dead. I didn't think the woman would do something like this to me. Didn't think the girl had the nerve. Here I am. I guess action speaks louder than words. Between it don't pay to keep treating your woman bad. Don't she sit back and enjoy it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, bring it down, brother. If Bob Marley was here tonight, he would say something like this. I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna wait in vain. I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna wait in vain. No, no, I, no, no, I, no, no, I, no, no, I, no, I, no, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna wait in vain. Is this love, is this love, is this love, is
You have a knack of picking the right songs, it seems.
Well, I didn't choose Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Lloyd chose it for me because we used to work together. We formed a company called Splash in those days, and we were working with Kent Booth, Buster Brown,
As the Messengers.
Lloyd Chalmers, and myself as the Messengers.
Another one of the groups which certainly brightened up Jamaica for a while there.
Yes, yeah, we did quite well, and with 4 great guys, like 3 great guys, you know, with myself, you know.
What was the idea behind that? Because here you are, you had your solo career going well, and then you were working with Lloyd, and Ken Booth, Busty Brown, and yourself.
Well, we were actually trying to do what Coxsone did.
Okay.
Because you notice that there's a group called the Freedom Singers in Studio One.
Yes.
Well, anybody who sang at Studio One had to be the Freedom Singers. Yeah?
Okay.
So because we were working with Splash, anybody who was with that had to be the messenger.
Okay.
But actually before that, this is an interesting thing you might want to know. You must have heard of Lynx.
Yes, yes.
Now the Lynx was the first organization of artists coming together to do their own recording.
Yes.
And that consisted of Ken Booth, Delroy Wilson, the Melodians, and Gaylords. The first song we recorded was It Comes and Goes.
Yes.
And Give Love a Try with Delroy Wilson and his songs, and it went straight into the chart.
Yes.
We didn't have complete knowledge on the music business because this was something we were trying because we were fed up of being told that the song weren't selling and all of these things. So we wanted to know for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I was going to talk about the fact that artists forming their own label was something that was really frowned upon, especially from producers.
Of course.
Yeah, because I suppose I can say this, they used to go to radio stations and encourage the DJs not to play.
Well, I was just about to tell you that.
So tell me about that. How did that make you feel? I mean, there you are, you're writing your songs and you're trying to make a living for yourself, and you're getting this added fight.
You didn't know, because you're so naive.
Okay.
We were just trying something,
okay.
yes?
Yeah.
How I found out was about 10, 15 years after. Neville from Sonic Sound said, God, we used to give you guys a fight.
Really?
In a joking manner, you know? And I said in my mind, God, I didn't realize it was me who was fighting, it was my kids.
Yeah.
And I really felt sad about that, you know, because if we were making good music, you should allow us to come through, man.
And you were making some good
music. We were making good music.
Because even the Wailers had their own record label started.
Okay.
You had people like Errol Dunkley and even Gregory, well, it was Gregory and Errol at the time.
Yes.
And then you guys, you know, and so you tried that, and were you successful in any way at all?
Well, we were successful in making a record, a hit record.
Okay.
What broke up the Lynx was lack of knowledge,
right?
Both in the business side of it and also the understanding between the artists.
Yeah.
Because when the Melodian song hit the number, I think it was number 2 hours in Jamaica, they said
and
that
both charts, from what
both charts, of course.
Recall, yes.
They said it was their song that was the hit, so they should get the money. And you see the ignorance in the whole thing, so that kind of messed up the thing. And I'm saying to myself, God, here I am, a young guy like everybody else, and I'm trying this thing. I don't even know where I'm going. So the more help I can get, or the more we are together, is the happier we should be.
Supposedly,
yes.
Yes.
But it just didn't work that way, and I had to move on. You know,
and you didn't move on, you did.
I did.
When did you actually write Freedom Street for Ken Booth?
Freedom Street was written in 19, God, I want to be sure, 73, 74, around that period of time.
Because that was when he released the album, I think it was called Freedom Street.
Freedom Street, yes.
Which had several tracks written by yourself on that.
Yeah, I had songs like Mr. Wind, Drums of Freedom, Now I Know.
Some classic songs,
Mm.
definitely. And in a sense, they really stood the test of time, didn't they?
Well, believe you me, I've got my own publishing company now.
Right.
Called Metronome Music, and I can see where, you know, everything is.
So when did this move from Jamaica to England? When did that happen?
That happened.
And why did it happen?
Well, it happened when I got frustrated.
If I can be personal.
No, I'm willing to tell you. I like to pour my heart out to you because I'm relaxed with you now, man. It was in 1985 when I was with the union, and I left it after they had this. They wanted me to be the president, so they had the election.
Okay.
And Sonny Bradshaw used a clause on me. I didn't pay my dues until about a week before the election.
Okay.
So he said that there's a clause in the that booklet,
memorandum,
that you have to pay it a period of time. So, you know, they got me out there, and I said, God, maybe it's a blessing in disguise because my kids need to be taken care of. And luck was on my side. Some guys from Ocheres came, and they wanted to get into business, and they had a group called Tanglewood that they wanted me to produce.
Okay.
And I was doing my album at the same time. and I was running short of cash.
Okay.
So I said to them, I'll produce your album, you pay me, and then you can help me to finance my album as well. And they did that. So we all came to England in 1985. And then that's when I released Everyday People.
Yes, another big hit.
Yes.
The return of BB Seaton. I keep saying the return, but you never returned. You were always there.
They think like I'm Django. The return of Django.
Yeah,
I understand you, you know, and that was another point of my career again. I was with Creole.
Yeah.
And put out this album called Everyday People as well.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't a monster hit or anything like that, but I could live from it. You know?
Right. Now, with all the changes that has happened with Jamaican music, as I said before, the ska, the reggae, the rocksteady, the dancehall, the DJ, because throughout that you were there as well. You know, and here you were in 1985, you know, still riding this success. You know, and in my picking the song again, another song, Everyday People, you know, and a monster hit. How did you feel about your career at that stage?
I was in two minds. I was a bit agitated. I was frustrated to a point where, because I had to leave Jamaica, you know, to come to England to do my music.
Yeah.
When I sacrificed so much in Jamaica, you know, it wasn't. So I kept going back, going back, you know, like, because I've never been...
Don't want to leave.
No,
yes.
You know, I've never stayed in this country, even though I'm living here now, longer than a year. You know, I always like to go home and recharge. But I've set up my publishing company here, and I'm working with Sprint Record, which is a new and upcoming company, run by Sammy Fetter.
Is it easy running your business now? I mean, of course, you know more about the business now than you did then.
Yeah.
Is it easy actually running that company?
It's easy in the sense of knowing where you want to go and knowing what you're doing. But people that you have to deal with on a daily basis, sometimes they can make it difficult for you. Because there's a song now that seems to be going somewhere, Red Rose, that I had written years ago. There was this instrumental called Telstar. So I wrote the lyrics to Telstar. And there's a song coming out now with Sharon Foster doing a reggae version of it. They've used my lyrics, they've used my arrangement. But it's like the company, the publishing company, the guy who wrote the Telstar is dead. And this is a trust. And they actually don't want me to use anybody to do anything different with the songs, because you know you can demand that.
Yes.
Yeah. But I have my solicitor working on it. But these are the things you have to deal with on a daily basis, you know.
Yes. And as we're talking about lawyers and royalties, not getting royalties, UB40 covered one of your songs.
Yes. That was a blessing in disguise.
Yes. How did you feel about that? Because here you are, you know, a song which some people say, okay, it's one of those songs that was in the catalog somewhere.
1969.
1969, and UB40 found this song, and because I actually remember writing something about that. I think because it was Ken Booth was involved. I think Hoddy Boy was also involved, because they covered several songs from that era, including yours.
Yes.
You're talking about getting frustrated when it comes to collecting what's yours. You know, how do you think that could be corrected?
Well, when it comes to the publishing now, I think I'm on top of it.
You are?
Because I've got about 70% of my songs under my publishing. I've got songs published with Polygram, EMI, Creole. Those are songs that I'd given to them in the earlier days, which the contract says it's in perpetuity, meaning for life. Yes, but all I'm doing is trying to keep in touch with those companies that they keep paying me for my works, because I don't mind who have it as long as I get paid.
Right. Is it easy keeping up with who's got what of yours?
It's very easy with companies like EMI and these companies, because they're not going anywhere.
Right. But what's the frustrating bit?
The frustrating bit is when, what I hate is when somebody cover my song and I don't do a good version of it.
That's annoying.
That's really annoying. And like the smaller type of people, when they cover your songs, you know you're not going to get paid. You know, because I don't really follow up those things unless it's on the big chart.
Okay, yeah. Now, for those people who are watching who don't really understand the publishing, and as you're a man in the know, and I'm sure there are viewers who are writing songs and probably want to know what to do, so that they don't fall in certain traps that a lot of your fellow artists have fall into. How would you advise them on?
Well, first, how you publish a song, or you copyright a song actually, because when you publish a song, when you make a record, you have already published a song, because the idea of publishing is to cause it to be heard.
Okay.
But copyright is the right to copy. Yes? So what you do is when you write a song, the normal thing, the easiest thing to do is just put it in an envelope, register it to yourself,
Okay.
and don't open it. Understand?
Okay.
That's proof that it was written in that period of time.
Right,
and
yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Other than that, you can go to a publisher, or you can try and get your songs published yourself. By starting a publishing company, it's not very hard.
Okay. Had you known this 30 years ago, do you think you would have been better at running a business now?
I don't know, because maybe I would have
Or
gone.
would you have gone to the same thing?
Maybe I've gone into the business side of it and didn't write so many songs.
All right.
You know,
yes.
because I'm saying to Alton and these guys, God, I wish I did sing a lot of songs like you guys. But like I was too aware of what was going on in terms of the artist royalties and
Yeah,
that, so I was
yeah.
kind of reluctant to sing for a lot of people.
Yes.
But sometimes ignorance can be in your favor, you know.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
in cases like that, you know.
Right. Now, we can't help notice you've been called upon several times to do the honors at certain shows. You know, what's been billed as revival shows, or
Yes,
oldies,
yeah.
or whatever. I mean, Sunsplash, and
Mhm.
you've been pretty much in demand for the last couple of years.
God, and it's really refreshing, you know.
Mhm.
It makes you feel like you're alive again.
Yeah.
And I don't mind singing these songs, you know, because the joy that it brings to people, when you see their faces, when they hear these songs, it makes you, I don't know, it makes me feel so good. Like money and these things are irrelevant to the joy that I feel when I'm doing a song that people say, God, this has, if you know what this has done for my life,
Yeah.
you know, it was worthwhile writing a song like that.
There's a fire. There's a fire. There's a fire. Such a fire. Come on, let's get together and straighten this out. Let's get together and make this shout. Fire, fire. Fire, fire. Fire, fire. Fire, fire. Come on, let's get together and straighten this out. Let's get together and make this. Yes, it is, 'cause it's burning in me. You are there, oh, you just can't see. There's a fire. There's a fire. I've got to tell you, 'cause it's fire. Come on, let's get together and straighten this out. Let's get together and make this. Yes, it is. As I told you before, burning in me, got to go some more. Give me water, let me cool my soul. Water, let me cool my soul. Give me some water, let me cool my soul. Give me some water. I need me some water. Give me some water, let me cool my soul. Give me water before I lose control. And the fire in me burning, burning, and setting me
here you are in '96. You know, are songs coming to you easy now? Songwriting?
No, not really. I had a mental block about 2 years ago, and I couldn't write a thing. Whatever I wrote, I just tore it up because it didn't feel. I even did some recordings that I'm sorry I did. You know, who knows? Maybe they might be a hit some areas, but I didn't feel pleased with it.
Right.
But I've just finished an album now, because I've gotten back that writing vibes now.
Yes, yes.
And I've got this new record out now, just about a week and a half, and it's called Reggae Land. I'm thinking of calling the album that, but every track on that album could be a name for an album.
Okay.
That's the sort of writing I'm back into, right? I think I've found it again.
So you've got the formula back, huh?
Yes, I have indeed.
Well, that's good. You know, I mean, here we are, as I said, in '96, and it's great to know that someone such as you still manage to ride all what's happening now, all the different styles, the genre of music that we've been through.
Yes.
You know, and you still manage to find that hit. You know, how do you feel about reggae music now, or reggae now?
Reggae music is a beat, a pulsating beat. And if you put the right ingredients together, this is the thing, is what the youth need now, right? Some positive lyrics. Because you have good reggae making, you know. You've got a lot of good reggae records being made, but they're not being exposed. Because somehow it seems like the DJs seem to catch on to the under me this and the girl this and that more than the positive vibes.
Yeah.
No, this song this album is something now to give them guidance. This is saying this is reggae land.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's no monkey music now control it. This is what it's saying.
Okay.
So you're gonna get a message when you play that record.
Would it be fair in saying that maybe the reason why you're not too keen on what's happening now is because there is this generation gap? Or is there a generation gap? You know, I mean, things have moved on. Because one argument could be that what's happening now is what the youths want and what they're reflecting in what's around them. Just like, say, how in the 60s you were going off of what was happening around you. Would it be fair to say that?
Yeah, it would be fair in a sense. It would be fair, you know, because what they're doing is what they know best.
Okay, right.
Maybe they're trying to emulate us, but that's where they came up with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember when Radix band came about. Radix band was one of the most underrated band because the proper musicians were saying, oh, these guys can only play 2 chords.
2 chords, yes,
Yes?
of course.
But they learned something. They learned that James Brown was only playing 1. and then he ran some 9s down and said, take me to the bridge. Ah!
Yeah.
And that was it. Turn up, tap, tap, tap. But it was turn up, tap, just 1 chord. And funnily enough, that was Bob Marley's idol.
Interesting.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
So he picked a winner.
Indeed. So
You know, so I'm not against the youth trying a thing. All I'm saying to them, look, we want this thing to be around in the year 2000 or 3000. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So to keep it there, like how we did it in the 60s and it's coming back again in the 90s.
Yes, yes.
There was the ingredient in it, that input, that was more than money.
Yeah.
It was the love of the thing,
Yeah.
the enthusiasm as youth. So this was one of the reasons too why I don't like him to do back any of my songs, because I don't think I could capture back that enthusiasm.
Right. Because at the time, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'd like one of those kids to do it.
Now, finally, your production work.
Yeah.
Your production work, you're getting more and more into producing, and more so than you were a couple of years ago. You've got your own studio, yeah, and you're setting up things properly, if I could say that,
Yes.
properly.
Yeah.
And you're recording people like A.J. Franklin.
Yes.
Yeah. What is it like working from that angle?
It's something that I've been always doing. So, you know, I'm just going through the motions. I still love the music.
Right.
And even when I'm 91, if I live that long, I still be doing what I do best.
Right.
Music. And I like working with A.J. Franklin because he's coming from the old school,
Of course.
Chosen Few.
Yes.
And we're great friends.
Right. And the thing is, you haven't lost this knack of finding your harmonies and stuff like that, which
Can you ride a
I
bicycle?
admire.
If you learn to ride a bicycle, would you forget?
No,
Well, I will still do that, and what I'd like to do is really impart some of my knowledge onto the kids. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be in England. It might be in Jamaica. I'd love it to be England as well.
Okay.
But I guess it might be Jamaica.
And the final question, can reggae music be made in England?
Reggae music can be made anywhere.
Okay.
Right?
Because you know the old saying, well, boy, I don't think reggae music can be made in England.
That was before they had drum machines.
Okay.
But when you program that drum until it play,
It plays.
but what the problem was the feel, the drummer,
Okay.
and the feel overall.
Yes.
It was difficult to capture that feel.
Okay.
But now because they have the drum machines and all these electronic things, it's easy.
It's a good thing.
Well, it can only be good if we get some benefit from it in Jamaica as the people who created the thing.
All right. Well, BB Seaton, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I'm sure when Jamaican music history is written, you definitely will be at the top.
Well, I hope everybody reads my book when it's finished, because
the
I'm
book?
writing a book.
Okay, and the title of the book?
It's Through Authentic Eyes, reggae music through authentic eyes.
And the film to follow?
Well, hopefully somebody will take it on.
BB Seaton, it's been great talking
Yeah,
to
man.
you.
Nice to see you again,
Thank
Norman, and
Thank
talking to you.
Thank you. Profile, that's it.
I just want to say a big thank you. I really feel honored to be given this award, the BEFTA Award. And I hope an organization like this will continue forever, as we do need something like this for our people. Thank you so much, Pauline. You're the queen. And what else can I say? I would like to sing for you tonight, because I've been around for donkey's years, the days when we were at Studio One, and now we have Bob Marley, the Wailers, Ken Booth, all of these great guys. And I was there. I was actually at Studio One being the A&R man, and the opportunity of passing people like the Heptones, Lloyd Parks, all of these people have actually gave a go in the business, and I'm still around.
C'était l'événement au festival de Bagnols-sur-Cèze en août 2012. Un groupe venu des origines du reggae remonte sur scène pour la première fois depuis 40 ans. Face à 10 000 spectateurs, les Gay Lads chantent un morceau écrit en 64, Africa, l'un des premiers hits jamaïcains qui parle explicitement du retour en Afrique.
As the bird in the tree, I can't control the spell that's come over me. I see rivers that flows down to the sea, mountains so high, trees that reach the sky. It's pleasing to see.
So now let's do individuals. Who would like to go first? We're going to just get everybody singing individual part. Would like to go first?
First cut is the best.
I'll give you your time.